Alright, so this is Sriracha back with the second half of that MGK1 keyboard video. Now I brought it over to the actual studio, I got it plugged in and got the drivers installed, which took maybe a minute tops, really. It's a very easy plug and play type of thing. Now, if you take a look, now I know the lighting is not that great because of the position of the light, and I kind of have to stand in front of it to get a good glimpse of the keyboard. But I guess the benefit of that is now, check it out, you can see how clear the backlighting is. The backlighting is very clear, even though it's already pretty well illuminated in the room, you can't really tell. Now you can actually adjust the backlighting, and you do that by hitting this function key, the FN, and you have the F10 key and the F11. So if you want to turn the backlighting down, you hit it, you hit F10. If you want to turn it back up, hit F11. It's that simple. Now, here's a cool feature I want to show you in terms of backlighting. If you hit FN, or the function key, and then F12, you can turn the backlighting off altogether. So now, if it's perfectly illuminated in your room, or for some reason looking at all the keys that are illuminated kind of gives you a tiny bit of a headache, because that is an adjustment to make, then you can just be doing whatever you need to do without any worry. Now, another cool thing is if you hit the function key again, now what you're going to do is you're going to have a backlight of whatever the last key you touched was. You know what I'm saying? It's almost kind of like the Simon game that you played when you were a kid, how you'd have one thing that illuminates and then, well, you get what I'm saying. It's basically that simple. It's pretty cool. And then if you want all the keys illuminated again, hit function, hit F12, boom, now they're all back on. Okay? Now, aside from that, there's not really a whole lot to this keyboard. I mean, it's just a keyboard. There's not really a lot of ways that you can innovate what's already been basically perfected. It's a QWERTY keyboard, as I said. But here's a few pros and cons. Here's the pros. The pros is that it's comfortable and that it includes this palm rest, like I mentioned. It's like a fake rubbery soft material, that's soft touch. But it feels good, and it's probably going to feel very good if you play some games on it for a long period of time. And like I said, it looks very sleek, it looks professional. I like the fact that the backlighting is white as opposed to like green or blue or purple, because white is more of a neutral color. And like I said, it adds to that classier appeal. And the braided USB cable is a plus. It just feels right, and when I was trying to plug it in through, it's kind of hard to see on my studio desk, but there's like a hole where I'm pointing, and that's where you can feed cables. Now, usually if all of your cables are like this mouse cable, just your typical rubber, then it's kind of hard to feel around and see which cable you're actually dealing with. The braided cable actually helps out quite a bit in that case. Okay, so those are really the pros, and like I said, it has a very clicky feel. These are Khalil blue switches, is what I've been told. And one key thing to note, one very important thing, is it might be an adjustment to actually have to get used to the amount of force that you exert onto each key. Alright? My previous keyboard I've been using for months, if not a year by this point. And so I got accustomed to having to kind of put a decent amount of force onto those keys. Now, that being said, I have this new keyboard here, and the keys go down and they spring back up very easily. And so sometimes I find myself kind of like hitting the keys really hard. And so what I might have to do is make an updated video to see about the longevity of this keyboard, to see how durable it is over time, because I know I'm going to find myself hammering on these keys when I get mad, especially if someone kills me in PlanetSide 2. We'll talk about that later. Okay, back to the aesthetics. I didn't mention this earlier. I'm pointing to the side of the keyboard for two reasons. One, to point out that it is red, so it is black on the outside, or gunmetal gray, if you will, on the outside, and then the red is going to be all on the back of the keyboard and on the sides. Now I'm also pointing to the sides to show you something that you don't see on keyboards in this price range. You're not going to see another USB port or anywhere to plug in your headphones or your microphone. Now some keyboards are actually going to include that. So what that means for all you layman folks out there, myself included, is that you can plug in another USB device, and so the keyboard's not only going to transmit information from the keys to the computer, but it's also going to transmit whatever information you have going on your other USB device. And so you actually don't see that on this keyboard. And that's one thing that I wanted to point out in addition to the force of the keys. Aside from that, the keys do pretty much what they do. If you use the function keys up top, you can see that you can pull up the internet. I'm not actually going to pull it up because all you have to know is that it works. I'm using Windows 7, works perfectly. Function F1, you get internet. Function F2, you get your emails. This is good because I'm a teacher and sometimes I gotta, pull up a calculator every now and then. So that's a quick way to do it without having to fish for it. Function F4 gives you Windows Media, and I think you can possibly change that to open up maybe VLC player or whatever else you have. These are your media controls: rewind, pause, play, fast forward, and stop. Now this is called the Windows lock mode, and basically what that means is that if you hit function and you hit F9, what that's going to do is it's going to stop this Windows key from being able to pull up the Windows menu. Now that's a good thing if you're a gamer, because you might be playing, oh yeah, I'm beating all these people, whoops, and then maybe your pinky kind of slides over here, and then you end up pulling up the Windows menu in the middle of the game, and then you start losing the game because you couldn't control your pinky. Well, now thanks to that you can actually fix that. So function F9 turns that function on and off, which is cool. That's a bit of a plus if you're a gamer. Okay, we spoke about those. Those are the backlight buttons, and the rest is pretty self-explanatory. Now, one last thing before I conclude the video, and if you're watching still to this point, thank you, because I'm not great at doing unboxing videos. But another thing that I don't see, and I guess I don't see it because I don't need it, you're not going to see any macro keys. Macro keys are things you'd see either on the side somewhere, or at the top, or maybe even at the bottom. Macro keys, for those y'all don't know, basically just allow you to do extra custom programmed functions without having to click, program this, program that. You can just hit a button that you program to do a particular task. That's good if you're a gamer and you're trying to figure out, if you're trying to add a bit of extra flexibility to your games, that's a great thing. Now, I will say this, I am kind of making this video out of ignorance, because there might be a way to actually program macros using this keyboard without having macro keys. I'm not a super duper expert on that, but we'll see. But anyway, I think this is possibly a very good purchase if you're looking for a keyboard that's backlit, it's comfortable, it looks good, and you want keys that are clicky and don't take a lot of effort to push down. Okay. And oh, sorry, one last thing is this, I said earlier, was possibly the light adjuster. This is actually the volume rocker, and this button, that's to mute or unmute your volume. Okay, and that comes in handy if you're using the media key. Alright, so that's all there is to it. This is again the Azio, or Azio, however you pronounce it, MGK1. This is a mechanical gaming keyboard. Costs about $100, so if that's what you want in the price range, then go ahead and pick it up. Just keep in mind what I said in terms of who I think this keyboard is geared for. Alright, Well, hey, this has been a Nathan Sriracha video. Appreciate it. Peace.